What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Star Chasers, Girls Talk Ball. As you know, it's your girl Craven. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. And as always, I got my girl Star in the building with me. How you doing tonight, sis?
What's up, everybody? Glad to see everybody and be here for another episode of Star Chasers Girls Talk Ball. Um, really excited to be here tonight. Hopefully, everything is good with the audio. That's why we were late because we just try to make sure the
Yeah.
audio is okay. So I pray to God there's no audio problems. But really appreciate everybody. Shout out to Angie, Jamison Taylor, Kelvin, Nisi, Marcus McFarland. Appreciate all y'all being in the chat with us tonight. To talk Cowboys football, but y'all know before we get into it, to please like the video, please share the video, as well as please subscribe to Mickey and I's YouTube channel if you haven't already. I'm at Stargazer Sports on YouTube, and Mickey is Craving Cowboys.
Yeah, just like Star said, hit the like button, hit the share button, hit subscribe, hit our cash apps as well. As if you guys were tuning in this weekend, as you guys know, we were finally able to do a joint show, which really went very well. Very happy that we were finally able to meet up. And honestly, it was definitely great. I mean, I definitely say that was the highlight of my weekend. Of course, outside of, but no, because we had kind of a bad home game this weekend. In case anyone, didn't know, but that was definitely the highlight of my weekend. Being able to, to get up with Star, and of course, like Angie said, she says that we sound good, and that's definitely great. Because I was definitely hoping because I know that I hope, I mean, we're having some fire shows lately, but I'm just hoping, of course, we know we're gonna have another fire show this evening. And shout out to everybody else still coming through. Double R, Nisi coming through as well. My girls Nisi always in the building with us from day one, really. So really appreciate you.
Yep, from day one. Really,
for continuing to rock with us. Really appreciate you. I'm gonna try to. Hopefully, I hope I sound all right. I thought I was sounding okay, but for some reason I hopped on here. My voice still sounds kind of just a little bit hoarse. Hopefully not too bad. For you guys listening in, but yeah, like Star said,
she was screaming at the Cowboys game. That's
why. Yeah. I think it would be totally gone if we played a good game all the way through. But I did what I could for about a quarter or two, y'all. I did what I could. You know what I'm saying? But now that we'll just jump right into it, like you said. And also shout out to Lee Harrison in the building, Facebook group. What's up, fam? You always coming too. You've been there from day one since I started my my Facebook channel. So. Appreciate you coming through as well. But like Star was saying, we'll jump into it. And shout out to I just want to make sure I get everybody. Shout out to Splendid Poppy in the building as well, coming through. Appreciate you.
But yeah,
as we've seen this past weekend with the home game, it definitely didn't. As everyone has been saying so far this week, definitely didn't expect our guys to. Come out and play like that. Definitely, a little this. I don't want to say. I just speak for myself. For me, a little disheartening, going out there just in person and, wanting to see our guys kind of come out, with some fight, as we seen that last week, right, versus the Steelers. And thinking that would just be kind of a continuing trend and just kind of speaking to, and luckily, me, I personally like listen to the coaches' interview. So I'm definitely glad that we're able to, kind of get some coach availability, especially earlier in the week, pretty much when the week started out, I'm glad that we didn't have to wait too long till we have right sis to be able to kind of get, just some access maybe to what was kind of going on in the locker room, maybe with some of the, some of the, we couldn't get access to all the players. We were able to get, access to, I think, Damone Clark, Jay Lou was able to stay after the game. Malik Hooker, kind of said some things after the game as well. So, although some of the guys, kind of got out the locker room, we able to kind of hang on to some things. There's some things I kind of gathered from some of the interviews, of course, and the guys saying what seemed to be the, the universal message to everybody before leaving was, time to look in the mirror. Of course, we know we're going into the bye week, fundamentals. I heard that a lot amongst the coach interviews, things like that. And, of course, we know, just like I said, speaking for myself as a Cowboy fan, and I've been seeing them a lot around Twitter too. That you kind of start kind of hear some of the same things kind of ring week to week, and we do have some of these losses, and these losses have been, kind of in the same fashion, at home. You know what I'm saying? Our record so far this year is 0-3 at home. I don't really like to go back to the playoff game. I know a lot of people like to kind of loop that in, but it's a new year. We have newer faces on this team. You know what I'm saying? And I don't necessarily like to loop that in. So I'm saying, I say 0-3 as far as our home record, and the losses that have just been bad against teams who, as it stands right now, could possibly be playoff teams. It's kind of uncertain about the Saints, I'll say, but they did score 40 points the week before, and of course you know who the Ravens are, right? And then of course
Right.
seeing the Lions, the team that they are, wow. I mean, the way they came out this weekend, sister, I didn't expect that. I definitely didn't expect. I mean, we understood what they were looking for, but how they played us, I mean, that's crazy, sis. Let me know your thoughts on the game, and I kind of spoke a little bit. Let me know how how you're feeling coming out this game this past weekend.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, this is how I feel about the game. Yeah.
Oh,
I just,
sad,
yeah,
bro.
it was sad, and then just, first of all, we knew that in order to defeat Detroit, there had to be a specific game plan followed. Like, we all knew that. Um,
Yeah,
we knew that we were going to have to, I mean, when you're like, you got to look at the game in context, guys. We were playing a lot of practice squad players, guys. Like,
right.
so when people, like, do y'all realize that, like, people are like, we went into this season, we didn't have depth and all of this type of stuff. But it's like, y'all, do y'all realize that we had 4 defensive end? Like, how much defensive end depth? We had 4 of our top. I think Greg Ellis. I was watching Greg Ellis' interview, and he was like,
Talk
y'all
about
realize,
it.
like, we had 4 of our starting defensive ends out. So we
Facts,
had our
facts.
starters and Mike and D-Law. Then we had Nealon and Sam Williams out.
Right, and that started,
So,
and I don't mean to cut you off, sis, but I mean that was really the first major injury of the season. So I
right,
hate to say it was kind of like a call, a telling card, but wow, that position has really been knocked, these
right,
past
it's
few
been
weeks.
knocked. And you went and got Carl Lawson. So you did. When Sam went out, you went out and
Right,
signed somebody. Right?
right,
But we can't sign. What we gonna sign? 3 to 4 halfway
right,
decent edges, you know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
and we
Yeah,
still have Chauncey, we still have Tyrus Wheat, who I feel like, and then we added KJ Henry. So we have
right,
added people, you know what I'm saying, guys? But it's just unfortunate that we got hit with our 4 defensive ends. So you have to think about that.
right,
But when you realize that you went into this game, you're playing the best right now. People say the Lions is the best team in NFL, and honestly, I don't think I can really disagree. You know what I'm saying? It's not the
yeah,
49ers, it's not the Ravens, it's not the Chiefs. You know what I'm saying? Or you could say the Chiefs, because I think the Chiefs are like 5-0 or 6-0.
yeah,
But in the NFC, the best team right now, I guess you could say, or the Vikings, but the Lions have better personnel than the Vikings and a better play caller.
right,
So the
yeah,
Lions are the best team in the NFL, one of the best.
yeah,
So when you have that type of situation, like, you knew you were going to be hard pressed for your defense, full of practice squad. I didn't even bring up Deron Bland and who else is missing on defense. There's way more injuries I can't even think of. Oh, Eric Kendrick, our Mike
right,
linebacker was at, like, guys.
right. Kalen Carson, I mean,
Kalen Carr,
although
guys,
he wasn't necessarily supposed to be a starter, he was
but
kind of
he's
thrown
our
out there because of
right.
because
He
of
is a
Bland being
starter.
out.
He was a starter, right? Exactly. So,
Right,
guys, like, we've been ravaged by injury. So we knew the only way that we was gonna beat Detroit, and they're fully healthy. They literally just got backups
and
out,
off a bye,
right?
and off a
And off
bye.
of bye. The only way we was gonna defeat them is if we kept them off the field. And that's by
Period.
having long ass drives. We needed like 19 play drives, and we
Yeah.
needed to get touchdowns at the end of them. So when that wasn't happening, it was gonna be tough sledding. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Appreciate that, Brian.
Yeah.
We
Hey,
worked
appreciate
hard
that,
on
Brian. And we appreciate you coming back too, fam, because I know that
it.
sound was crazy last week.
Yeah,
So we definitely appreciate you coming back.
we worked
Appreciate you,
hard.
man.
But yeah, so when you have that type, like, we knew you're not gonna defeat the full strength of Detroit Lions with practice
Right.
squad players. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So we were gonna have to be able, like I said, the only way we was gonna beat them, have long drives, kill the clock, run the ball. We did nothing of the sort. We did nothing of the sort. And
Right, right,
exactly what David said. Go ahead, sir.
oh no, no, I was just going to say, and you kind of read my mind with that, what you were speaking to earlier about Coach Greg Ellison, what he was saying to the media. Because actually, just a small clip of what he was talking about today with the importance of the guys, and we'll get into that later in the show about the importance of these young guys getting reps, right? Because just like you said, and just like Coach Ellis said, I mean, you expect injuries to kind of go throughout the team, but really to hit at one position, like you stated earlier, sis. I mean, we can look around the league and we can look at certain teams. Maybe we can look at San Fran. They were they kind of got hit in the running backs, right? McCaffrey went down. I think Debo missed maybe a half of a game or went down for a game, something like that. Jordan Mason stepped up, and I think he hurt his shoulder a couple weeks into his run. So I'm saying, so these certain positions, you don't expect to get, your top three, our top
Right.
four,
Exactly.
playmakers at one position,
Exactly. You expect injury, 100%, but you don't expect the top four, right, to get wiped
Right.
out. You don't expect two of your corners to get wiped out. You just don't expect that type of stuff. Then on top of it, now your mic is out. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it was going to be an uphill battle, us beating them anyways. And, when our offense just could not get going, and, going back and looking, and that's right, David, you know what I'm saying? And going back and looking at the All 22, it was just like, bruh, like, I wish I could show, I think I probably could show it. Like, this is how, because I can look at the ESPN box score to show y'all, like, this is how I've never seen our play-by-play look like this on offense. I was like, God, dang. Like, we just couldn't.
Yeah, and
it was because, like, bro, yes, there was some drops. Yes, Dak wishes he had some throws back. Yes,
right.
There was some play designs that I was like, come on, Mike, you got to do better than that. But overall, bro, like, reason why we look the way we look, because our offensive line, bro, that
from the first drive, Star.
From the first
Please
snap,
talk about it. Please talk about it.
From the first snap, they was in Dak. You from the first play, you see Dak. Dak got hit from the first snap to the last snap. Like, I'm glad we ended up having to pull Dak, like, pretty much early in the fourth or, like, late in the third, because it was like, all right, like, at this point, it would be coaching malpractice with the way the score looked for me to keep my quarterback, because it was clear, like David said, the Lions came in there with it. And I said this, didn't I say this? I said, they're going to come in here trying to embarrass us with intense hate. And that's exactly what they did. They came in there trying to embarrass us with intense hate. And I feel like what happened, first of all, I want to share this so y'all can see, like, this is so bad offensively. Like, I put it on Twitter, I was like, this is probably the one game where I would just make the team sit in silence and watch it all the way through. And then I would burn it in a trash can and be like, we are moving on. Because you really can't. It's like, it's that bad. That's really, like, there's tape where it's like, yeah, it was bad, but like, you can teach from it. It's like, this tape, offensively, it's like all of this stuff y'all know.
Right.
Like, okay, so field goal. Okay, that's good. Interception. Punt. Turnover on downs. Field goal. Second half. Field goal. Fumble. Interception. Fumble in game. Like, that's how bad.
God. That's embarrassing. That almost the whole entire second half we had turnover on downs or turnovers.
The whole second half, bro, it was literally turnover. So it's like when you're looking at that type of stuff as a coach, it's like, this is just pure, flat out, we can't execute. And the
I don't know.
We can't execute is because our offensive line, Zach Martin, now he got his shit pushed in rep after rep, but it was everybody. It wasn't just Zach Martin. Terrence Steele was getting his ass whooped.
Yeah.
got his ass whooped a couple of plays. Tyler
Yeah, and
Smith got
on some of them
his ass
stunts, on some of them stunts, like you mentioned,
whooped.
and on some of that first drive, like yeah, Zach was, and when he got that holding call, I was like, okay, I
Yeah,
was like,
it was
whoa, did I hear 70? I was like, wow,
exactly,
bro,
and
that's
that's what
crazy.
I'm saying. Like Zach clearly, and shout out to DMV. He did a breakdown on it where and I put it out as well on Twitter. Like I'm pretty sure he's hurt. Um,
Yeah,
I'm pretty because he is hurt. He is suffering from a back issue, but I think like if your back issue, like let me for example, Zach Martin played so bad on Sunday. The defensive tackle that played against him got four a 4-year extension yesterday.
you talking about McNeil?
Yes.
Oh, bro, he had like, and I mean, he had like what 3 or 4, or maybe 2 to 3 sacks at the end of the game.
Sacks. I don't even know how much pressures. But that's how
Oh
bad
wow,
Zach Martin was so bad. Detroit said,
wow,
we need to give him a contract immediately. We're not waiting till the end of the year. We're giving him he beat Zach's ass on Sunday. They gave him a contract on Tuesday.
right. Oh wow.
So when
And
you
didn't no, that was, maybe I'm tripping. Didn't, I know Montgomery got an extension, but that was the end of that was early in the year though, wasn't it? It was
yeah,
it wasn't right
that
before our game.
wasn't that didn't have nothing to
Okay,
do with us. But all I'm
okay,
saying is, listen,
wow,
the offensive line, I thought they just took 2 steps back or 3 steps back, bro. They took
yeah.
10 steps. I don't know what was going on with them, but it was to a point where we was in 13 personnel. So do you know how many blockers that is? That's 8 blockers. You have 8. Good night, Jameson. Thank you for
See
tuning
you,
in.
Jameson. Appreciate
But
you.
we had 8 blockers and still couldn't block anything up in the run game.
Yeah, that and that's definitely, I'll say, me being there in person, that was definitely just one of my gripes. One of my main gripes with the game is not. I mean, we saw Rico not getting crazy push, and that's why I thought initially, the first drive he went down, he called to be out. So I was like, okay, well, he's taking the break. They brought Zeke in, but then I saw Zeke, for a few more drives, and I was like, oh man, I hope knock on wood, I hope Rico didn't get nicked up, anything like that. Maybe that's why Zeke is out there. But then you see Rico come back. I'm like, okay, good. But then you just start seeing Morris Deacon. It's like, what's going on? Like, what happened to the formula, of last week versus the Steelers? Mike McCarthy
Right.
said it was going to be similar to last week's game plan. Like, what's
Right.
going
So
on?
exactly. So
And
that
just,
was another question because it was clear from the first play that Rico, because remember when Dak threw that pass to Ferguson, it tipped up, Rico
right.
caught it. So
And talk about getting that chemistry, right? I mean, some guys just need that spark right there. I mean, that could have got something for going for the game. Now, granted, he went out a couple plays later, but I just don't get it.
And it's like they basically are trying to. And I think I watched Jeff Blasco, I watched Schottenheimer, and I watched Solari talk about the run game. And they were all saying, they kind of were doing it by series, but because of the way the game went,
that's always the excuse, man.
Yeah, it was like, we were running them by series, but because I feel like there was a certain plan they had, like they wanted to start using Zeke in the red zone. Rico came out in that drive, so it's like, okay, let's just let Zeke do the drive.
Yeah.
So I feel like the coaches just kind of overthought themselves. Because I mean, in reality, yes, Zeke got more carries, guys, but he only got 3 more than Rico.
Right.
So it's not like
I think Rico still got better yardage than Zeke, right?
Right. Rico averaged 5 yards a carry this game.
Yeah.
Zeke averaged like, I don't know, like 2 or 3, something like that.
Yeah.
But it wasn't great because every single time Zeke went to run the ball, I mean, there was literally like 2 to 3 plays where as soon as Zeke touched the ball, he was tackled.
Right.
That means because there was one play, Tyler Smith just flat out didn't block nobody. Like I hate that. It's like why is that
It's
happening?
like,
Like
are you talking about where he went inside instead of getting his outside man? I'm like, what's
yeah,
going
he went inside, just lets the DN run free. Like okay.
on,
Then there was
bro?
another play where Tyler Smith just got beat. Instant tackle.
Yeah,
So this is what I'm talking about. Like in reality, bro, like the line was not blocking good. Yes, Rico had better yards per carry, bro, but he only had, 25 yards. Basically both of the running backs. I think if we actually had been able to play a balanced game, it would have looked even,
yeah,
more
and
even. I mean, it already didn't look that far off, 5-8, but
right,
that's what I'm saying. Like some people think theoretically, Zeke quote unquote cried about his reps, and so Jerry forced it. There is the theory that Jerry forced Mike to start Zeke and have Zeke play more. But I was like, we can't. I would only be able to confirm that theory if we were able to play a balanced game, and then I see Zeke getting like 20 carries and Rico getting 5. Then I'd be able to be
right,
with that. Like, yeah, that's something's wrong. That was
yeah,
unless the coaches just, but it would just be weird because it's like right before all of this, Clarence Hill made all this Zeke fiasco. Then all of a sudden now Zeke, but I mean that's not unheard of because that usually happens. Like every time a player's like, "Why did I get targeted?" The next week it's like the coaches or the organization, whatever, make it an emphasis target this player or whatever. So I
yeah,
wouldn't be surprised if Jerry had anything to do with it. But again, at the end of the day, like the old line was horrible.
yeah,
They wasn't good. So
yeah. And
whether
I
it
think
was Zeke or Rico, like we wasn't gonna be able to run the ball.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah, yeah,
that
and it made me even more like not upset, but I mean, like you just said, like they not saying it's an excuse because these games, do get out of hand very early. And in my opinion, I don't think it got that too much out of hand until I think maybe after
yeah,
the
it really
kind of the
didn't get
hell,
out of right. It
you
didn't
know what I'm
really,
saying? Really
it
didn't get
didn't
that hand to maybe
really,
until after like after
yeah,
not the Hail
because
Mary from golf, but the long pass to the tight end before he scored the touchdown. I don't
right,
think it was really out of hand until
yeah,
then because even
because
then it was still like I think 23.
in the
I
first
think
in
close.
the first quarter it was 7-3, right? So you
Right,
definitely, and Mike, he was balanced in the first quarter, and then
right,
the
right.
second quarter got out of hand, and then they just went away because the score at the
Yeah,
end of the second quarter was 20-3.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, I
So,
think
so that was pretty much it got out of hand, but still, like the game was still, even though it was 20-3 going in the half, game was very still much winnable. Like 20 ain't crazy, you know what I'm saying? It ain't like it was like
exactly,
the Green Bay
exactly.
game where it was like 34 it had, or
Right, you know what I'm saying?
28,
Right, right.
28, like yeah, like 28 at halftime or whatever, you know what I'm saying? It was
Yeah.
20, you know what I'm saying? Like we still could have come out and ran the ball.
Yeah, and that's just what I was going to say is like, not saying I'm tired of that being an excuse, but hey, I mean, even if you are behind, okay, well, use that opportunity, number one, to get out the game and get your players off the field, and number two, just create that rhythm, create the chemistry. Okay, you're behind, you want these guys to use the ball to being in their hand, like just like you were doing with Rico and Cooper Rush at the end of the game when Rico was getting those 4 or 5 yard bursts at the end of the game. And use that opportunity to get the run game going. You know what I'm saying? Number one, you're getting the guys off the field, and you're not wasting that time because they still have 14 minutes left in the whole entire game when Cooper Rush did eventually come in. So if you're running the ball anyway, why not use also that third quarter to get your guys in rhythm to run the ball?
Right. I agree with that totally. I think, we should have used the third quarter to get back in rhythm. I think, and Mike has said it in his press conference, he was like, I think, like, we may have just not panic, but we started going faster than we should.
Yeah,
Like we could have slowed the game down coming in the second half, but you're thinking down 23. Let's score. We need to score quickly. Let's score.
right,
And
right.
while trying to do that, it didn't work.
Yeah,
You did never allow your offensive line to really try to settle down and get in a rhythm. And
yeah,
then you got Detroit coming at them every effing play,
Yeah,
hitting them,
that
hitting them,
physicality really showed in this game, sis.
hitting
It
them in
really
their
showed
chest, just
on both
oh,
sides of their ball, on both sides of their
right,
ball.
exactly, hitting them in their chest, just it was just and what I said was this. I was like, this is what I think happened because when I was listening to all the coaches really, but Brian Schottenheimer said it. He was like, listen, you come out of Pittsburgh, you think you're the best offense ever. So it's like you come out of Pittsburgh, you think you're the best offense, which can't argue with that because you just marched up and down the field on the number
Right.
one defense in the NFL, on the most expensive defense in the NFL. So you're coming out there
Right.
feeling good with your chest out. That's the problem with this team. People think, oh, like we just don't be having the fight and all that type of stuff. And I'll say in the Saints game, it was just horrible effort. This game,
Yeah.
I didn't see horrible effort. I didn't see quit or anything like that. Like it was still well into the second half. Players still hitting hard, trying to fill their gap, trying to do what they're supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
But ultimately, you're not getting the in the defense. This wasn't. That's why I'm like this wasn't the Saints game or the Packers game because it wasn't like touchdown on every drive. The defense, full of backups, was still able to get some stops. Was
Yeah.
still able to limit them to 3 a few
Yeah.
times. So this wasn't
Yeah.
like the Saints game or the Green Bay game where it's like, damn, y'all can't stop nothing. Y'all can't stop nothing. So, but even with that, the issue with our team is we go into these games. What's up, Sports Junkie? Glad to see you.
Yeah. What's up,
Y'all,
Sports? How you
y'all
doing?
subscribe to
Happy day
Sports
money as
Junkie.
well.
But the issue is you come into these games too high. You come into these games too high. You come into these games too confident. You came into this Lions game and you like, y'all still the little brother. We don't care that we down. We done beat y'all 600 times in a row. Yeah, y'all
Right.
might be good, but y'all not as good as the Lions. As the Steelers defense. Offense should be able to move, no problem. And you came in there with your chest out. And because you came in there with your chest out, you got your chest kicked in because the Lions played with hate. Like I knew everybody
Right.
plays us with hate. But the Lions turned that hate up 10 more notches. That's how much the Lions hate us. And it was clear because the shit that Dan Campbell was doing to us and Ben Johnson was doing to us was flat out disrespectful.
Facts. Y'all ever seen that Chappelle show skit where they like hate. Like that's how the Lions came here. I mean, let's just be real about it. The Lions call. I think it was either 9 to 11 calls. Stating that linemen were eligible in the game.
Right, exactly. Like
times.
constantly trying to throw their line.
Yeah, I think on the first play, the last play, and I forget. I think right before halftime, they called
Like
it again.
literally, and I'm like, this is why Dan Campbell, you're gonna get what's yours. You know what I'm saying? Like Dan Campbell, you think you're good, you think you're big and bad because you beat up a team that had about
Right.
to start out. All right, I'll take it. All right, you got your lick. This is. So we beat y'all 6 times. You beat us once in 6 years. Okay, I'll give it to you. You know what I'm saying? I'll give it to you 110%. And I would love to see them. Would love to see the Lions again full strength because we've never disrespected the Lions. Like everybody hates us, well, we don't be disrespecting people. But this is what I'm saying. Like the Cowboys got to start going. I've been saying this since last year. Y'all got to start going into these games full of hate.
Yeah.
Because these guys, the reason why whenever we get our shit kicked in, is because we're not matching the intensity. As simple as that. Like this team is being way more physical. They're playing with way more rage, rep after rep, and we're not playing with that. And when you don't play with that, then that's what happens. And I agree 100%. It is coaching, being able to manage because there's a thin line between confidence and cockiness.
Yeah, I saw you tweet that.
Yeah, there's a thin line between confidence and cockiness. And so it takes your coach is supposed to be able to keep you don't want to act like when you win it don't mean shit. but you also don't want to act like it means everything. And the
Right.
coaches right
Right.
now, y'all are not really tempering this young team. You know what I'm saying? And it clearly showed because again, they were not prepared for the energy and the intensity.
Right. I'm so glad you brought that up, Star, because just like I was speaking to earlier about the coach availability, a lot of the coaches kind of reign that too. I mean, McCarthy has been kind of speaking that since the beginning of the season. We have a lot of young guys. I'm not used to having two rookies on the line. We're getting these guys acclimated. Even not just McCarthy or even Coach Zimmer, but even coaches like Coach Scanina, Coach Greg Ellis, like we talked about earlier, spoke about the youth of these guys in the room and that hoping that the things that they learn in practice that hopefully it can evolve onto the field, onto the practice field first of all,
Right.
and then of course onto the field when these guys actually get those reps. Because granted, you do have Mamazi, you do have Overshown, and these guys aren't quote unquote rookies, but let's look at it.
They're basically rookies, right? They're not rookies.
Overshown had a red.
Right.
Overshown had a red shirt season last year, so they're still learning the game,
Exactly.
the game. You know what I'm saying? So that, along with Amaris Leafau or Damone Clark, who was last year kind of thrown into that position. So this year, not saying he had to take a step back, but he had to go into a position that he was a little bit more comfortable in while he's still learning the game. He's still, like we talked about last week, he's in his fourth year. Not truly. It's like the LVE, but not truly having that full-on mentor on the field. You know what I'm saying? Because even when he was getting that mentorship, by that time, he was really getting the full mentorship. Mentorship. LVE was already out for the season. You know what I'm saying? So these guys really are just essentially being kind of thrown into the fire, on different levels. Like, granted, they all aren't rookies. Okay, we're not saying they're all young. Because I even heard some of the reports asking, when does it get to the point where you can stop using that excuse, right? Of, hey, they're young. It's early in the season. Right. Stop saying that, right? But we have to still acknowledge the fact that these guys are young.
At no point, like we're six games in. Like the reporters,
literally, some of these guys are six games into their careers, Period. We have to remember that.
And people putting out names like Tyler Guyton, disappointment. Nick, I almost said the N word. It's 6 games. Like, to me, the expectations of our young players, like it's like people forgot that we're playing with a lot of young players, and with a lot of young players come growing pains. But it's like, now that we see the growing pains, we're surprised and we're having panic attacks and saying we need to go sign this person, we need to go sign that person, we need this, we need that. It's like, no, that's not how it works. When you when you choose at the beginning of the season, I'm gonna roll with a young team, then you gotta take the good with it and the bad and the ugly. That's just how it happens. That's how it happens when you start young players. And the only way young players get better is to play them. They get better with reps. Like Mike McCarthy said, he was like, with young players, they need to practice every single day and they need to get every single rep possible, because that's the only way they're going to get better. They're not going to get better on the bench.
Exactly.
Let me actually help you on the bench.
About that, I'm gonna bring up that clip by Ellis. Let me bring it up right quick. This is kind of the point that he kind of spoke to about these guys and just really how important it is, not just for these guys to get reps in general, but how important it's going to be down the stretch in the season when we actually do finally get guys back like Parsons and the D-Law and the Nealon, because these guys are coming back. That's what we're looking forward to, right? Well, like Coach Greg Ellis said, in the meantime, you have to kind of take those bumps. You got to take those punches. Are getting reps while we are waiting for those guys to come back.
Later in the football season, we definitely.
I can't hear it.
Let me okay, there we go. Oh, I didn't think. Okay, well, I'll play that way. I didn't think I have all of us. Let me see. All right. Dang, hold on. My bad. I don't know why it just muted. Hold up.
It's good. Well, I mean, it's good that they are getting reps now, because later in the football season we're definitely going to need some young guys to step up, and so it's very, we taking some lumps right now though, because you rather have your big four, and the big four to me, obviously Parsons, Lawrence, Sam Williams, a lot of us forget about Sam. Sam was definitely going to be in that rotation, and we was fortunate enough to get a good guy, Marshawn Neely, in the draft. So you're looking at really four quality, top ends there, and then you wake up and now all four of them are gone. But my hat comes off to Chauncey T. Wheat, KJ coming in, stepping in there, and so it's tough on those guys. And we're going to push them. I'm personally going to push them real hard, and get as many practice reps to them as possible. I don't know any other way to help somebody get better than to get reps. You just have to get enough reps, a lot of reps. And we won't be able to get as many as I want us to get, with that younger group of DNs. But, we certainly going to push very hard. I'm going to come out early and stay late with them if they're willing to make sure, individual times that we're getting them meaningful reps and individual drills. That's the only way, to me, that I became a good defensive end, and that any defensive end can become a good defensive end, is just getting those reps. And some of it sounds, elementary, if you would, like, okay, just get off the block and go make the play. Well, the other guy's getting paid too, so they're not just going to let you go, obviously. But it is, more technique has to be utilized, and doing it walk-through pace is one thing, but when the bullets are flying for real, that's, if you don't have that many reps of going into doing something, when you really need it, you're not able to call on that muscle memory quick enough to shed and get off and go make the play. And so no other way of doing it, just, individual reps, working shed drills and all that kind of stuff. To me, it's almost like, training camp mode. Not, we ain't gonna be out here all day like we can in training camp, but
I'm gonna pause it here so that we can kind of break down what he said so far, and I'll let the rest of the clip kind of load up. That way, it's not doing so much skipping. But and really the reason I brought this up is because we talk about the line not really getting a lot of pressure, and especially with the defensive end, and this is mainly where we've been hit as far as injuries. So I just kind of I thought it was important to bring up Greg Ellis's kind of snippet because not saying he's getting the most as far as pressure, why these guys aren't succeeding. But I mean, just like he kind of mentioned here, it's really important for these guys to get these reps. And like he mentioned about these, and just to kind of play kind of devil's advocate a little bit, it's not just the young guys. Like he mentioned, I have a KJ Henry who came here, who's only been here for a couple of weeks, and he kind of mentions earlier in the
and
interview.
KJ Henry, not to interrupt, but
no,
listen, I don't know, but I mean, KJ Henry, he was setting the edge. Let me look at his his stats. I think he had the best stats on the defense.
Yeah, and he came in and got a sack.
Yeah, he had 3 total tackles, 1 solo, but he had a sack, a tackle for loss, QB hit. Right. So when you have what's up, Rico?
Hey, Rico, what's up?
Have a practice squad player? No, but he's not practice squad. I forgot. Yeah. We signed him to a 2-year deal. I forgot. Yeah. So now KJ is actually a part of the squad. But when you have this is your first game and you getting sacks and tackles for loss, like versus the Lions, I don't care, bro. That to me, that shows something. I'm not saying he's all world or he's Michael Parsons or D-Law or even Sam Williams. But what I'm saying is when you got a kid that can come off, you just signed him and he's already being productive, then he's got better stuff on the stat sheet than guys that's been here.
Right.
So I just want people to think about that. You know what I'm saying? What's up, 100 grand? But that was shocking to me. I was like, dang, I didn't realize KJ did that. But
I was surprised to hear his name towards the end of the game because I'm like, wait, that's the dude that we just got. And he can't, just like we saw, well, I mean, I'll say just like I said, speak for me, just like kind of saw it in preseason week 3 when we did see Golston and Tyrus Lee kind of come in and try to get some pressures, you know what I'm saying? Or even Lawson when he came in and started getting some pressures. In the preseason week 3, I was like, hey, he just got here, but he still has to learn the system. So, and I like what we're seeing from Lawson, these past few weeks, you know what I'm saying? So, another young guy coming in, and that's another thing I kind of bring up, as we go along here, because, like I said, we kind of play devil's advocate a little bit. It's not just the young guy we're talking about. Like I said, we're talking about Akar Lawson, we're talking about Tyrus Lee, Chauncey Golston, and now what I will say is that these guys aren't necessarily young, right? Golston, he's here, been here for a few years. He was here when Dan Quinn was here, but I took a look back at some of these guys. Not all their snaps, but I just kind of compared to last year we did have a Fowler, we did have a Dorrance Armstrong, who played well over 150, maybe 150 to 200 snaps in a year, right? Well,
Hmm.
I went back and looked at Carl Lawson. He only played I think six games last season. Tyrus Wheat only played I think let me have it. I have it here in my notes. Bring it up just really quickly for you guys. Actually, let me go back to the screen right quick. But yeah, Carl Lawson only played 16. Like I said, Tyrus Wheat played 7 games last season. KJ Henry only played 9 games with Washington. He did have a sack, and as we know, Lawson was. But like I said, just not that these guys are all young, but they may not have gotten that many reps last season. So coming in, learning a new system under a new head, learning a new system under a new coach. You know what I'm saying? That kind of goes into it as well. So not just the young guys, but also vets coming in, having to learn a new system, working with a Paul Gunther, who they may not be familiar with, working with Coach Greg Ellis, Coach Ganina. KJ Henry is familiar with him. You know what I'm saying? And that's one thing that's one
Right,
thing I do
right.
like about like I mentioned earlier in the season, we're in off season about them bringing guys who are already had that connectivity with each other. So that is something that kind of helps the transition running just a little bit smoother.
Yeah, I agree with that. And to address your comment, Double R. So you said growing pains should have been dealt with by the GM, getting players that can play, but the Cowboys GM is a true problem, not hurt players, because GM does his job. We have backups, just saying. So we do have backup. That's what I'm saying. Like, 4 of our defensive ends got wiped out. 4
Right.
starters at the same position. So 2 of your cornerbacks got wiped out. So Jerry did not go into the season not prepared. Like, what was Jerry supposed to do? Carry 50 defensive ends, 50 cornerbacks, 50
Right.
offensive linemen. Like, we gotta kind of
Yeah.
like just. And this is not me caping for Jerry. I'm just looking at the situation how it is. Like, Jerry
Yeah.
did go into the season with depth. The only position where we didn't really like the depth, I thought we were stacked, and we still are pretty deep. Like, that's why you have
Yeah.
4 defensive ends out, and then you still have 2 more on your roster. Like, we have depth,
Facts. Facts.
and Chauncey Golston is damn good depth. Now with Carl Lawson, we still working him. I'm trying to figure it out. But then you just signed
Yeah.
KJ Henry, and again, you're getting production out of him. So again, I'm not caping for these guys. I'm not saying these guys are amazing, but that's what I'm saying. A cluster of injuries like that is hard to overcome, and a lot of people are
Yeah.
are, are getting are getting hit with injury. So the backups are, well, no one, Double R, nobody has premium. Only the Cowboys really, like, when you have like a
Right.
Sam Williams and a Marshawn Nealon, those guys are starters, but we have them
Yeah.
as our backups. So I mean, I don't know, man. I just can't really agree with you. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, there's some positions where, like, I wish that we went in and I really wish we had a traded for a premium defensive tackle. So I'm with you on there.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
when it comes to the other positions, like, I can't really crucify Jerry for that because Jerry went in with hella depth. So I
Yeah.
can't really say, like, damn, Jerry, like, why didn't it's like, what am I supposed to do? Like, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like,
Because if anything, that's what we were kind of not criticizing, but even we were kind of coming into the season, we were signing defensive ends, and we were like, hey, we need DT, we need DT, we need DT, and now unfortunately we just kept getting hit in the defensive edge position. So now it seems like you said, like, it's now it seems like we're short on defensive edges. No, we just really been getting hit in that
so
particular position.
Double R, Sam Williams, Marshawn Nealon, Chauncey Golston, Tyrus Wheat, that's not good depth. That's bad depth. Caitlin Carson, Izzy McQuamu
Right.
is not good depth. Like, what we gotta look at the positions that we got ravaged for. Brandon Cooks is out. Jalen Tolbert, Cavante Turpin, not good depth.
Right.
Like, this is what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? Like, Eric Kendricks is out. Now I wish we would switch to Mike, but Damone Clark is a starter. Then you got Maris Leofow as depth. You got Buddy Johnson at that. None of those guys are old. All of those guys are young guys. But
It's
it's
just,
okay.
yes, it
We
could
don't
just be
have
the
to agree.
experience.
Yeah, it could just be your opinion. You know what I'm saying? None of those guys are old that I just named. Not a single one. They're all young guys. None of those guys are old. But it's okay. You know what I'm saying? If y'all disagree,
Yeah,
it's totally fine. I obviously see the roster. See, uh even Jay Money, you know what I'm saying? We don't agree on everything, you know what I'm saying? Like when
yeah,
you look at the league, look at everybody's depth before y'all just say we ain't got no depth. You know what I'm saying? Because our depth is
yeah,
better than a lot of teams' depth. That's all I will say. But anyway, I'll
yeah.
leave it at that. If y'all think the team depth sucks and Jerry sucks, I know that's what everybody's saying. Fire Jerry, the GM, all that stuff. So y'all
Yeah.
have at it. But
Yeah, I'm going.
but
Let me
anyway,
see if I can get the rest of the script
Well,
for
I
Greg
mean,
Ellis.
it's
Just put the
good
paper over
that
his
they
phone.
are getting reps now, because later in the football season, we're definitely going to need some young guys to be able to call on that muscle memory quick enough to shed and get off and go make the play. And so, no other way of doing it, just individual reps, working shed drills, and all that kind of stuff. To me, it's almost like training camp mode. Not we ain't gonna be out here all day like we can in training camp, but just guys, we got to get a whole bunch of reps at the defensive end position. It just hit me the other day. I was telling you, you look up, it's like, man, this guy just been here for 2 weeks. He had to play 30 snaps the other day. You
30
know what I mean?
snaps.
But they're not going to
Right,
cancel the game
exactly.
for us because of
Right.
that. So we just got to push and
And that was really just the main point I wanted to get off just the rest of that clip is that just kind of what they're going to kind of take through the bye week, as they kind of prepare, for the next opponent coming up. I kind of like what he said that they kind of well he's going to try to take that that because I having that interview out of training camp before, he said he kind of wanted to get his really be hands on with these players, right? And we saw the relationship he had with Nealon. Well, they brought in the
Mhm.
KJ Henry and really just being that the position that they're kind of feeding right now. Over this past offseason, it was Scott McCurley, right? He was able to get some bodies in the room, as far as
Mhm.
linebacker, right? So now Greg Ellison kind of gets some bodies in the room, get his hands on these players. Unfortunately with Nealon being now, he has a little bit more time to kind of mold, Lawson, KJ Henry, get them used to the system coming on, Tyrus Wheat, Chauncey Ghostum, get them, kind of get them in better form. Like he said, kind of going into quote unquote training camp mode. As they mentioned, with the newer rules, they can't really, do hard practices this week. But what they can do is, like you said, come in early, stay late, get the extra reps in, and now you don't necessarily have to work, focus. It doesn't have to necessarily be in practice form, right? These guys kind of have a week to kind of just spend with their position coach, just by themselves,
Right.
like
And
kind
just
of like
do
a mini OTAs, right? Where you just kind of focusing on your position group. You're there with your coach, your position mates, if you will, and just kind of honing on the detail that you guys yourself have to focus on instead of having to worry about kind of being in the midst of practice with all the other, the whole team there. You're just kind of
yeah.
honing on that position group, by itself.
Right. I mean, and that's just something that we need. Every coach was saying like, let's get back to the basics. Let's get back to the basics. And it's like, yeah, there's a lot of things that, and just like Greg Ellis said, like you can teach a player, but when they get out and those bullets start flying, it's easy for them to revert back to what they know. It's easy to revert back
Right,
to bad habits because that's what's ingrained.
right.
You're now trying to redo or
Kind of like relearn, like
yeah,
kind
they're
of like
trying to
relearn. You know what I'm
relearn. They're
saying?
trying right. They have to. They're relearning the techniques and stuff like that so that they can have that with
Yeah.
the muscle memory. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah, because
it's part of
Coach Harris kind of spoke to that. He was kind of speaking more about the DBs and the guys that he teaches. But even he said that if you kind of get old, no slight, but kind of older players or players who are kind of used to a certain system, it's kind of hard to kind of teach an older player, newer things. But younger players, it's a little bit easier because they don't necessarily have all of those systems kind of
exactly
ingrained
they
in their
don't have
mind
all
that they
those
used to.
systems exactly. So these players they're learning new techniques. They're learning stuff that they weren't learning under Dan Quinn. They weren't learning under
Right.
Aiden Dirty. So it's a lot of things that it's like we're trying to ingrain in you. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
that's why they
And a
say you
short
just
off season, in one off season.
right in one off. That's what they said. Reprogram. Thank you, Rico. So they were
Thank
like,
you. Yes.
that's
Thank
why
you.
you need reps because you're trying to you got to get this new stuff ingrained. And the only way you get it ingrained is just keep doing it over and over and over and over and over and over and
Yeah.
over and over and over and over again.
Yeah,
And,
and in real time, not just like you said,
right,
practice
in
is a
real
lot different than
time, right,
in game
exactly.
speed.
Because in practice, we're not trying to hurt you. In practice, we're not playing with hate and all that type of stuff. So
Right,
it's a
exactly.
different level of physicality when you're actually facing these other teams.
Yeah.
And you're like in these do or die modes because teams play like that. Because now we're in the regular season. Every game matters. You want to win it as much games as possible. So,
Right.
and as far as what my thoughts, so that was one of the coaches, Jay Money. He's the assistant head coach. What's his name? Jeff Zuniga.
Yeah.
I think his name's
Coach
Zuniga.
Z. Yeah.
Yeah, Coach
For
Z.
me. Yeah.
Let's call him Coach Z. Yeah, Coach Z.
Right.
People call him Mr. Incredible, stuff like that.
Facts, right.
I feel like with the DTs, like the DTs lose reps, but they're not that bad, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like I would have wanted, of course, I would have wanted a more high end. Of course, I would have wanted, a more high end Pro Bowl DT or whatever. But looking at the DTs, you know what I'm saying? Like they're doing their jobs. Yes, there was a rep. Mozzie got pushed out of the gap. Yeah, okay. But I mean,
flashes though. That's what giving me confidence, seeing the flashes.
Right, I'm like, you see the flashes, you see the hustle, and even that time when he got pushed out of the gap, it was really Clark's fault because it's like, Clark, even though I got pushed out the gap, bruh, I still got two dudes on me. So if you had been in your gap and not Overshown's gap, then you make the tackle, and now everybody's not thinking, wow, Mozzie sucks so much. But it is what it is. I let people have their own opinions. I watch the film, I make my own opinions. Everybody, y'all have access to the film. Well, unless maybe I don't know. But I watched the Out 22. Yeah. I made my opinions and evaluations of the players. And I think the defensive tackles, Carlos Watkins is looking exactly like I knew he would. Good. Because he's a good defensive player. You know what I'm saying? I knew he was good. That's why I was happy when we brought him back. Because I was like, I know Carlos Watkins is good. Linville, pretty much the only DT that you're going to see some ups and downs with in games. And Coach Zim always says it. He's like, what we're struggling with, he said, our guys are winning the blocks, but they're not getting off the blocks. That's why Greg Ellis was like, we got to do the sled machine and stuff because it's like, we got to get off blocks. Because go and look at the film versus the Lions. Mozzie, you're pushing. He was giving Ragnow, Pro Bowler, All-Pro Ragnow. He was caving his chest in. But if you got to be able to also get off the blocks. So that's the problem, and that's the whole D-line. So that's what they're like, that's why the coach is saying, this bye week, we got to get back to the fundamentals, and you got to kind of tweak maybe how you're teaching or emphasizing it, because that's what we got to focus on, because really that's what it is. Like, football is a game that you got to play fundamentally sound. And if you don't, then that's when things just go haywire and everybody looks like their ass. That's what happens because people just aren't following their keys. They're not doing the fundamentals. They're not, crossing over your feet. And it's just, and that's how shit just starts snowballing.
Right, and to your point, Star, like, and I don't know if a lot of you guys out there watch Coach Zimmer's presser, but even he kind of spoke to some of the some of the demeanor of the guys on the sideline. Right, he said that they weren't necessarily fussing at each other. It wasn't necessarily a hostile environment amongst the players. It was more so like these guys were kind of like bright-eyed and kind of surprised at what was going on in front of them. Right, so we look at just speaking to the losses, these are blowout losses, right? We're not sugarcoating anything. Blowout home losses, right? Well, they're just still young players, so if they're not used to, we always struggle with against the run, right? But we did decent versus the Steelers. We did decent versus the Giants. But when you're getting beat, like we talk about what 23-3 or what you're getting beat really badly, and these guys are running, outside, inside, running through you like Montgomery was, not getting touched until 7-8 yards deep into the play. And Zimmer, saying to kind of wide out on the sideline, what do you do in pressure situations, Star? Or anybody out there, you're in a pressure situation, things are going hot, haywire. all of your kind of bases kind of go out the window. You're just looking, looking to do what you can do to survive, right? So these guys just out there, like you talk about, you know, we've been talking about hero ball and situations like that, but when you're in
Right.
a
They
situation
start
like that,
chasing
they're just,
plays.
they're
Exactly.
just looking to get out the play. They're looking just to kind of make something happen on the field. So at that point, they're not worried about, they should be, but they're not worried about, sticking to, make sure
Right.
to stay
Stick to the
in gap
fundamentals.
integrity. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? They're not worried about the gap integrity. They're
Maintain
worried about
gap
trying to,
integrity. Read my
exactly. They're about getting
cues.
this guy coming right down the field
Make sure
at them.
my
You know what I'm
right. Make
saying?
sure my pad level's not high. All the type of stuff. Like you're
Right.
in fight or flight mode. You know what I'm saying? So you're just like things are going, and that's what I'm saying. The young
Right.
players appreciate you. Glad you
Hey,
found
what's
us.
up, Monster Villain? Yeah, yeah. We're happy to
Glad you
have you.
found.
Thanks for joining us,
Please
man.
subscribe to our YouTube channels. We appreciate that.
Yes,
Stargazer Sports, Craven Cowboys. Please subscribe. But
yes. Appreciate
yeah,
this.
it's like with these young players, they are in shock. That's what it
Right,
is. Like people will
right.
like, oh, it's soft or whatever. I call it immaturity. If you want to call it soft, you can call it soft, whatever. But I
That's
call
yeah.
it
I'm getting tired of that
immaturity.
too.
Yeah, I call it immaturity, and I call it. It's like when you go into a game, no person goes into anything. Well, maybe some people who are like got kind of like loser attitudes, but anybody
Right,
with confidence, you don't go into anything thinking the worst. You go into the situation thinking, I'm gonna beat this, beat, 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 right? I'm
right,
confident, I'm gonna kill this, I'm gonna do this, like you know what I'm saying. So these players are going in there like super confident, and then you're before you know it, you're like, what's going on?
right,
Right. And so that comes
right,
with immaturity, is that like you can call it mentally weak or whatever. Like when you're young, right, you kind of got to go through the fire to like build your mentals, right? Because that's what Zimmer said.
right,
He's like, the guys will be there in shock, but we telling them like, hey, snap out of it. You got to keep playing. You can't pout about it.
right.
You can't
Well,
want, you got to snap out of it. You got to keep playing. And I felt like the second half, even though we was down, the guys kept playing. Like you got to keep
yeah,
playing because you don't win. You don't win by giving up. And even when all hope is lost and it's clear that you're going to lose, you still need to be going hard because
yeah,
these are reps that you need to be executing so that you can build on to the next week. So the game might be
facts.
lost. The game is lost, right? The game is lost. There's nothing you can do about it. But what you can do is say, all right, game's lost, pressure's off. Let me execute this tackle correctly so I can get this in my muscle memory. Let me
Right.
make sure I'm looking at my keys correctly.
Hey,
Let
shout out
me
to Mark Holmes. What's up,
What's
man?
up? What's up,
Make sure you
Mark?
guys subscribe. Make sure you guys subscribe to Mark Holmes. Very good people.
The GOAT, Mark Holmes. Love you, Mark. Appreciate you. But that's the type of stuff that I'm talking about. Like, let me make sure I'm reading my keys. Let me make sure we line up. Like, you gotta continue because football is a game. It's a physical game, but it's also a game of fundamentals. And also in Zimmer's system, it is so much dependent based, which like you got to be able to do your job because if you don't do your job, like in
Yeah.
so many times in so many situations, it's like this play would work if you wasn't in the wrong gap.
Right.
This
Right.
play, this would stop it if you didn't try to arm tackle that guy and actually ran through the guy and stopped trying to arm tackle. You know what I'm saying? So this is the type
Yeah.
of stuff that we're talking about. So we're trying to get this young defense full of backups. We're trying to get them settled down and acclimated. The only way you do that is more reps. I know nobody wants to hear that, but that's just the bottom line. You know what I'm saying? That's what you got
Right.
to do.
And, right. And to
And
your
when you
point,
get
no one should really
ravaged
be
by injury,
surprised.
right? When you get ravaged by injury, like this is what happens in the league. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
When Christian McCaffrey went out, did they say, "Oh, let me go sign"? What's that guy over there? What's that running back that used to play for Miles Sanders? They didn't say,
Oh.
"Oh, we lost Christian McCaffrey. Now we need to go sign Miles Sanders." No, they said we'll be using our 7th-round running back.
Right.
That's
Right.
what teams do. Like
Facts.
everybody does it. You rely when you get hit when all your vets and top heavy people get wiped out. You rely on young depth.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean, look at the Bills. They went to their rookie running back what the other night, and I think he ran it up against the Jets.
exactly. Just we went straight to him. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
And the Bills,
yeah,
they ended up. No, they did not make sure he was ready. He just took this opportunity. Boy, they did not
exactly,
make sure he was ready. They didn't train him. They said, "Hey, Christian
exactly.
Harris, now you're starting, and if you can't get the job done, we'll get someone else that can." That's just how it is in
Right.
the
So yeah,
NFL.
because Cook he was out at the last minute. He was out at the last minute.
Right? That's what I'm saying. That's how it is in the NFL for young guys. It's like, all right, you're up. And if you can't get it, then I'll go and find somebody else that can. That's
Right,
basically
right,
how it is.
right,
So it's like, yeah, you can go in and you can add a veteran depth piece here and there. And there are clearly teams that did it. You know, Bills got Amari Cooper, which not surprised because the Bills went in to the season with wide receiver by committee, and they don't
right.
even target the wide receiver that they got in the high round. They don't even use him. They're targeting Khalil Shakir and whoever else the hell. So
Right.
they getting somebody for Josh Allen, which it doesn't really matter with Josh Allen because I'm like, you had a number one for years, and then you hated him, and then y'all broke up, and then thus
Right.
here you are. But whatever. And then you
Right.
got who else got a wide receiver? Oh,
The
the
Jets.
Jets, who didn't need a wide
Right.
receiver.
Like
That's
that. Like
probably
that's the thing. That's the thing that gets me because you already know Lazard is Aaron Rodgers' new. So number one, you're not saying you didn't need Mike Williams, but you weren't going to target him as it was. So you give him what 2 chances and he drops the ball because you never go to him. So of course you don't have the
right.
rapport
I
with him.
just think
So
it's crazy.
you
Like
don't.
Mike Williams had one bad game and all of a sudden, but that's Aaron Rodgers for you. He's toxic. And y'all
Right.
see, it's not gonna work out, y'all, because Aaron
Not at
Rodgers
all.
is toxic. That's just how he is. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not gonna work.
'Cause my thing is
It's not gonna
you
work.
came to us. Like if I'm the Jets, like you came to us. Like we didn't, you know what I'm saying? So like how you gonna come in and just start changing stuff up?
That's
If
how
you're ready
Aaron
to coach,
Rodgers
now
is.
you bring in your dude.
All these demands. That's what he do. But it's all right. The Jets they're gonna be 2-5,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
and then 2-6, and 2-7. Maybe
Yeah,
win a 3-6, whatever.
right.
But
And
he said before
I like 100 grand said here.
the less he said before the back you are in the depth chart, the less of reps you get, so you have to take advantage of you. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and I think it kind of speaks to your earlier point, Star. Like you said, like even if you are losing, like continue playing your best in that game because number one, you don't know when you're going to get the opportunity again. I think that's what Undergrad is saying right here because these guys are coming back. So not those opportunities are going to kind of dwindle when they do coming back as they do kind of get edged back into the game. And then, I mean, we're going to need them later on in the season, kind of like what Greg Ellis kind of alluded to in this interview. So, like, yeah, your opportunities may kind of go down as these guys do start to come back. But if you guys do, especially go for the long haul, if you are trying to, if playoffs are your goal, at the end of the day, and further than that, then you got to be ready to be able to step up when these opportunities do present it because these guys are going to need, and not just. And it doesn't just go for injuries. And knock on wood, hopefully we don't get any more. But it doesn't just go for that. These guys should be ready to go because rotation is a thing. You know what I'm saying? And that's going to happen regardless whether these guys are hurt or not.
Right.
So you should
I
be
agree
ready
with that.
at that. You should be ready at that exact moment, whether when these guys come, whether you're going on the field for 1 rep or whether you're whether you're going in there for 1 to 4 reps. You know what I'm saying? So you got to be ready because you don't know if. We saw plenty of times last season where where Micah Parsons wasn't on the field on some third down. So if you just, by surprise, you don't expect to go out there on the third down, you got to be one to step up in a situation that if Micah does,
Right,
if something does happen
exactly.
at that
You got
last
to be
moment.
ready at
You know
all
what
times. I get that. I get that, and I think you're right. Obviously, your coaches are supposed to have you prepared. You prepared to fill in for next man up. Obviously that young running back, that 7th-round running back, and how much emphasis they put into the running backs in San Fran. I'm sure he was well prepared. Clearly,
Yeah.
I mean, he obviously has the skill set. But clearly he was prepared. Think he's great. Hope he has, a great career and stuff like that. 100% believe that, the way we've handled the run game has been poor. And I think it's because the coach that we got in there don't really know what he's doing. But hopefully Mike and Schottenheimer realize that
Yeah.
and realize y'all need to oversee this more. Because he doesn't know what he's doing. He's never been a running back coach. He's never been a running game coordinator. He was a tight ends coach, and then he was an offensive line coach. So we need somebody in there that actually knows
That's
how to coach.
crazy. Now I don't mean to
Right.
cut you off, but it's one thing to cross train with these players, but like I don't understand why you would call yourself cross training with a coach. Like just bring in that particular coach for that particular
It
position group.
just
Like
it just doesn't really make sense, and I don't know why we just the word on the street is Mike McCarthy didn't want to get rid of Skip Pete, but when he fired Kellen, Jerry allegedly, I don't know none of this is true because it came from a source that I
yeah,
don't really like, but actually I'm not even gonna say it because I don't even trust that source, so I'm not even gonna say it. But
right,
it says that's why I was signing a player like Jeffrey Simmons. Yeah, I would agree with that. I would have loved to have Jeffrey Simmons. And I think that would have been a easy move we could have done just to like sure it up. Because it would be better to have Jeffrey Simmons, Carlos Watkins, Mozzie Smith than Linville. Not that Linville's bad, he's just like older, doesn't have as much
yeah,
youth left, and you
yeah,
can't he got really like low management because he's literally like 35. So I would
yeah,
have definitely liked to have better defensive tackle depth, 100%. So I'm with
yeah,
people on that. That's the only position of the only position where I feel like God, we're weak. We're kind of wish we had better there. I don't think that it's bad. You know what I'm saying? I just think wish that we
yeah,
had better. And I feel like in that position group, you are one injury away from possible disaster.
yeah,
So, we're good now. We got 3, 4. Somebody asked me about Osa. Osa is just not. He is not a run stopping defensive tackle.
yeah,
Like people always talk about Mozzie, but I'm like, y'all didn't see Osa get pushed to the ground too.
yeah, a
Like
lot.
Mozzie is a basically a
Yeah,
what is Osa?
right.
Osa's in a contract year and you're on the ground.
Yes,
You know what I'm saying?
yes.
So it's
He
like
had
this is
some
not
flash plays, and he had that penalty too. It's like at a
right.
critical moment too. I'm
He's
like,
not
come
a
on,
run
Oprah, that
stopper.
should not be
I almost
you.
forgot. Like Osa has been so like average this year that
That's so
I
yeah.
had forgot he's even on the team. To be honest, like I
At
didn't even name
times,
him. I'm naming Carlos Watkins and Livel Joseph and Bazzi. I forgot
yeah,
Osa. I be forgetting that Osa is literally on the team because
facts,
what
right,
does he really do? What impact does he really make? None really.
yeah. Because
None
before
really.
we would say that it was Osa kind of doing it by himself, or that Osa would be the main one flashing. But like you said, like not really seeing a lot, not really seeing
I'm
a lot
not
from Osa
seeing it
this
from
year in
Osa.
general.
Right. I'm just not seeing it from him. I'm not seeing any sacks. I'm not seeing penetration. I'm not seeing pressures. Now I'd have to go look
Right.
up his stats to see. Probably could look it up on Pro Football Reference, but I just don't. Yeah, Osa is likely not getting paid because the way he's playing is just not enough. And this is what we fear with Osa.
Yeah.
Like every year we're like, oh, Osa's gonna have a big year, blah blah blah. But it's like I think Osa just. I said this last year. I feel like I think after he just didn't really do much last year, I came to the conclusion that Osa just is who he is. But
Yeah.
it looks like his stats. He got a pass deflection, a half a sack, 18 tackles, a tackle for loss, and 6 QB hits. That's pretty much.
That's for the season.
Yeah, for right now. And then he's got 2 hurries.
Yeah, because I mean, I have seen some games where it is, it's
Yeah,
mostly him getting pressure to the quarterback. But I mean,
yeah,
like
but
we're
it
talking about,
said
if
this
that
year
though.
I don't see his pressures because this I gotta go to. I don't even have PFF to see his pressures, but um, it doesn't. It's just nothing amazing. You know what I'm saying? It's nothing
Yeah,
amazing, and it's like we wish that he was. He's playing out of position. No, he's not. He's playing 3 tech. He's a 3 tech.
yeah,
No, he played in position. They have not lined him up at the one ever. Like he's playing 3 tech.
yeah,
He's just not really getting it done. So it would be better if we had a um with Mozzie you see flashes, but he's just not there yet. So it would be better if we had
yeah,
a dominant 3 tech. Really. I think that's what's better. If we had a dominant 3 tech pass rusher that could penetrate the pocket, that would be great. Because
yeah,
right now and that's what we could have gotten from Jeffrey Simmons as I think that was Brian who suggested it. That's what we would have gotten from him. Because right now we just don't have that pass rushing 3 tech
Yeah,
Never
or
really
the
get there. He
yeah,
is
or,
undersized. That's true. He gained a lot of weight mass, but he's just too small for the trenches.
yeah,
I don't really
yeah,
know what he's best at because he's not really a pass rusher and he's not really a run stopper. So
right.
I
I
don't know.
just really and well, I'll say at the particular DE position, like just kind of watching back the Lions game, I mean, I know we've seen that over the weeks where we don't really have the speed, to kind of get pressure on the quarterback, but I definitely seen it in this past game. Like I just seen, not saying, I don't know. There's times I just feel like Golston is out there jogging. Is it just me? Like he'll go, like he was, like they were doing stunts, but he's like jogging to
Golston?
golf. I'm like, bro, if you don't get to the quarterback, I
You saying Golston?
yeah, Golston,
No,
yeah.
I
Like
can't
we're
say
just
that about Golston. I see Golston. Golston been one of our best players. You know what I'm
no,
saying?
I'm not saying all the time. I'm just saying like they're like for me, I just say in general, I don't really see, and not just Golston, but just overall, like I see more speed from like guys like Lawson and Henry, but I'll see
Yeah,
Golston get to the quarterback.
Right, yeah, we've seen like Golston will get to the quarterback and stuff like that. He's just not really Golston's not a twitchy guy. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? He's
yeah,
not twitchy. He's a power rusher. I'm gonna
yeah.
overwhelm you with my strength.
My
But
rush,
he's
yeah.
right, but he's not really like a quick twitchy guy. So that's probably what you're talking about.
Yeah,
No,
I guess I'd say like situationally because I think it was maybe I think for me it was just more so a situation. I think it was maybe like a third and short, maybe like a third and 3, third and 4, and they had Golson, a Golson as opposed to a Lawson in there. You know what I'm saying? So I think on those particular downs we could, I mean, I know Henry was getting work in there, so I know he came in.
have somebody with more of a pass rush repertoire in there. I
Yeah,
get
you
what
know
you're
what I'm saying.
saying.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
I,
Especially against a quarterback like Golf, because he doesn't necessarily have that movement back there anyway. So I'm saying, so
right. I see
have
what you're
a little bit
saying.
more speed. You know what I
I
mean?
see
So
what
yeah,
you're
and
saying.
yeah, I'm definitely not
Yeah,
knocking Golston because Golston is definitely, what I'm saying, one of our, one of the players who stepped
yeah.
up,
I
in
think
last week's game and
we
against the Steelers.
definitely are missing. We don't really have any speed rushers.
Yeah,
'Cause our top four are speed rushers.
right, right.
Well, not Nealon. Nealon is a power rusher. D-Law
Yeah,
is a hybrid, but Sam and Micah are
yeah,
speed rushers. So, um, I see what you're saying. You know what I'm saying? We
yeah,
definitely, and we knew that. Without our big four out,
yeah,
you've lost, you've lost some pass rush ability for sure. That's why you got to get creative with the blitzes and stuff like that because we just are
yeah,
not going to get home with four with Golston,
yeah.
Chauncey
And we,
Golston. I mean
yeah,
Ghost. Yeah, I'm sorry, Golston,
yeah,
Osa, Mozzie, and Tyrus Wheat. Like that's not you're not gonna
yeah,
you're not gonna get a lot
yeah.
of pressure like that. But anyway, I do have to jump off here, so it's already 8:30.
Okay, yeah,
Um,
yeah, no problem. Yeah,
but I think going into the bye week, like we gotta fix the run game. I feel like that's where in the offense, I wouldn't even look at the passing game. Just focus
yeah,
all on the run game because that's the missing
yeah,
component to Mike McCarthy's offense. And if he don't get that resolved, we are going nowhere fast. I know some of y'all think we already not going nowhere. Y'all looking at the draft. I'm not talking about that to y'all. I'm talking about the people who still believe and have hope for the season. You already
right,
gave up the season.
right.
That's fine. You want to
And
draft, get Genty or
yeah,
whatever.
week
That's
6, y'all. When we 3-3,
fine.
and other teams who are, who have worse records than we do, who are still potentially, going to the playoffs. So I don't
Exactly.
think it's time to get in mode either. So I'm right there with you, sis.
Right, like I'm not gonna throw in the towel, yet. But if you already there, that's fine. I'm not gonna call you a fake fan or nothing like that. That's just your
Right.
opinion. That's your thoughts about your team, and you're allowed to have your opinion. You're allowed to have your thoughts. Period. So, yeah, but I think ultimately, goal we gotta fix the run game. That should be the main focus,
Yeah.
and get back healthy. We gotta get back healthy. We gotta get back healthy because
Yeah.
you gotta get your generals back. You know what I'm saying? Because
Yeah.
you playing
Absolutely.
top teams with a defense full of practice squad players, nothing good's gonna come of that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Nothing good is gonna come of that. And the way we can ensure that we can protect our defense and settle and get our offense in a rhythm is if we run the damn ball. So we definitely gotta figure that out. We didn't even talk about Jerry, but honestly, I don't even really care to talk about Jerry, and I got to go
Yeah.
anyway. So
Yeah.
y'all
Now I'm
know,
with you. Yeah,
Yeah, we
I'm definitely with you. I mean, I feel like I said, I kind of stopped listening to some of Jerry's interviews, and like I said, if I hear anything from Jerry, it's from from other creators who
right
kind of
from
post.
social media, right? I'm like,
Yeah,
listen, with Jerry
right.
gonna do what Jerry gonna do at this point. You know what I'm saying? Like, I wasn't
Yeah,
mad. I was laughing because I'm like, F 105.3 the fan, because
fact.
most of them are sleazy. Not all of them. There's some
Hmm.
good people over there, but
Right.
there's also a lot of them that are sleazy and that do sleazy stuff. Did sleazy
Hmm.
stuff to Dak. So I don't care if Jerry
Right.
talks down on you. I don't care if Jerry says I own you. I can fire you at any moment. I don't care about that. I
Hmm.
don't feel bad about it. I won't be praying for Sean and RJ. I won't be doing any of that stuff
Right.
because
Fact.
at the end of the day, us content creators are just morons and losers who don't
Hmm.
have credentials. So I will
Right.
let them, who are the geniuses with their credentials, fight their own battles with Jerry Jones. But
Right.
anyway, you have some last words, sis, before we get off
No, no, I'm all with you, sis. Like you said, I hope that these guys focusing. Like, I mean, I'm really, like what you said, what Coach Greg Ellis said, like kind of focus, get back to fundamentals. Kind of focus on what the really main problems are. Right. I'm just glad that these young players, they had the first few weeks to kind of see what this game speed is. Right. Like, I mean, hey, we already knew we were going to the fire, but they actually have a week to kind of catch their breath. Like Coach Dim said, they were kind of wide eyed, kind of taking it back with what's going on. So they have a chance to kind of catch their breath this week, kind of get back to the level, kind of level headed a little bit, get back with the bets, kind of meet, act what you got, do the across the hall thing, right? Defense talk to offense, see what you can improve on, get together in your smaller groups and kind of grow from there instead of just trying to do like you kind of mentioned earlier, instead of trying to do everything in this bye week, you still have a whole season to go.
right.
Take this little break for what it is, focusing on your main problems, and then as the
Yeah,
time
I
goes
think
on, what I'm
exactly.
saying, you can just kind of focus on other problems as things go along.
Right. And I think that's a great idea. Like, just focus on the position groups, get your position groups like really honed in on all the fundamentals. And
Yeah.
hopefully, we see it transpire on the field versus San Fran, win or lose. You know what I'm saying? Because
Right.
I am getting tired of these blowouts.
Right.
But
Right.
anyway, but anyway,
No,
really
which is just
appreciate y'all all in the channel rocking with us. Love y'all so much. Appreciate y'all so much, and hopefully we'll be back next week for sure. Hopefully, fingers
yeah,
crossed.
yeah. Most definitely. Keep the notifications on, y'all. We'll catch you guys next time. Peace. We love y'all, and good night.
And Mickey, I'm gonna just hop straight off. Okay, so